An historic impeachment trial involving Texas's attorney general is now underway. Ken Paxton is facing multiple accusations of bribery, obstruction of justice, and misusing power. Representatives for the state and for Paxton made their opening statements on Tuesday.
Mr. Paxton should be removed from office because he failed to protect the state and instead used the power of his elected office for his own benefit.
When we are done, I believe that no matter your party affiliation and no matter where you stand now, you will conclude what I have concluded, that there is nothing to this.
CBS News correspondent Janet Shamlian joins us from Houston, Texas. Hi, Janet. Thank you for being with us.
Nancy, it's great to be with you today. Thanks.
So walk us through this very unusual impeachment trial, what happened on day one, and remind us of the conduct that led to this trial in the first place.
Yeah, so basically, Attorney General Ken Paxton asked for $3 million of taxpayer money to help settle a lawsuit. A number of staffers claimed that they were wrongfully terminated for being whistleblowers. After that, the Texas House started looking into his behavior and reportedly found an incident of bribery involving a big donor, protecting that donor from an FBI investigation in exchange for favors. So in May, the Texas House voted to impeach him. And since that time, he has been suspended, Nancy, without pay.
You know, what's interesting about Paxton is that, unlike Trump, he wasn't impeached just by Democrats. He was also impeached by the Republican-led state House. His own party wants him gone. So why hasn't the party closed ranks around Paxton the way it has around Donald Trump?
Well, some have, but not a majority. And this is one of those rare cases in politics, you would know better than most, of, sort of trying to hold one of their own accountable. Yes, it's rare, but so many people, Republicans in the state House and the state Senate, feel that his behavior has been so egregious that he needs to be out of office. And it's not just his behavior here. You know, he's facing other charges, criminal charges of securities fraud outside of what's being brought here in the state legislature.
Right. And this is obviously the person who's tasked with upholding the laws in the state, now accused of making an end run around some of them. Now, at the end of this impeachment trial, the state senators are going to take a vote. So what's the threshold for removing him from office?
Yeah, so the House already voted to impeach him, right? That's why it's in the Senate. There are 16 articles of impeachment. They only need a 2/3 vote on one of those articles to get him out of office. There are 12 Democratic votes that seem a sure thing. There are 19 Republican senators, so they only need 9 Republican votes to impeach on one of those 16 articles. And there's some belief that they have that, at least on one of the articles of impeachment. That said, there is money flowing into Texas on billboards in the newspaper from big GOP donors, reaching out to a small audience of those 19 senators, telling them to stay the party line.
And yet it really feels like anything could happen. I mean, the Lieutenant Governor, Dan Patrick, is overseeing this impeachment trial. He's a big Paxton ally, right? And then you've got this complication that Paxton's wife is actually a member of the state Senate and is sitting in on this trial.
Yeah, you almost couldn't make it up. Dan Patrick is serving as, quote, judge in this trial, although he does not have a vote. He is an ally of Paxton. He said in the opening statements this morning, he said, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a judge, but I've got somebody here, a former judge, to help me through it. He will not be casting a vote on this. And you're right, his wife, Paxton's wife, Angela Paxton, is a state senator. She had intended to cast a vote in this proceeding until the Texas Senate said, you have a conflict of interest, that's not going to happen. But she is still there today in the chamber, and she will be hearing testimony about Paxton's alleged mistress and extramarital affair. So it's very odd.
Yeah, it is, to say the least. You know, this is not the first brush with scandal for the AG. As you pointed out, he was indicted by a grand jury back in 2015 on securities fraud charges. What can you tell us about where that case stands right now, 8 years later?
Yeah, it's hard to believe someone who is not in politics, right, could wait 8 years and not have come to trial. The charges are very serious. If he is convicted, he could face up to 99 years in prison. This has been delayed. There's been requests for change of venue. The last ruling was that it will be held here in Houston. There's a next court hearing in October, and at the October court hearing, a date for that trial will be decided, but it will certainly not come before this impeachment proceeding is finalized.
So, how long do we anticipate this impeachment trial is going to last?
Well, I can tell you by watching today, it's not going very quickly. They did not get to opening statements until this afternoon. They had to swear in every senator separately. And on motions this morning, they had to ask everybody as if they were on a jury twice if they agreed, if that was indeed their vote. So the estimates are between 1 and 3 weeks. Most people say sometime in the next 2 weeks. The senators prayed this morning at the opening of the session that their lives would continue while they were in this lengthy process.
Well, no matter how this turns out, it will be fascinating to watch. Janet Shamlian, thank you so much for breaking it all down for us.
Thanks, Nancy.